that what exactly what all data does it contain, right? Because the foremost thing before using any research software is also to see that what all databases it covers, right? Mr. Anna, please confirm, do we have remote access over here, MyLoft or not?
No.
Okay, so you would all have this, I think, I don't know about the remote access software that you have with you, but there would be a remote
So
access.
this is also an announcement. Sorry to intervene. Actually, this is an announcement to the students, and of course, a piece of information for you as well. The Faculty of Law at MIT WPU will be going for the remote access of STC online by the first week of May itself. So right now, what we have is IP based, and the remote access will be available to all the students right from the first week of May.
Fair enough. So in that case, what we'll do is we'll show you the process of how how to access through remote access software, which will be given by SCC Online. We'll cover that aspect today itself, so that when you have it the next month, you know how to access it. So the first thing that you would be starting off when you are accessing all these databases remotely, that is from not from university but from your comfort of your home, you will get an email from myloft.xyz. So Mr. Raina will just show it to you right now. So the sender would not be SCC Online, sender would be myloft.xyz. And because of this extension that is XYZ, a lot of times this end up in the junk or spam folder, or sometimes we do not open it, thinking that this is might be some spam email, but do not really worry about it. It is not a spam email, it's the email sent through by SCC Online. Mr. Raina, I think you just can open MyLoft. I'll just show this particular email, how it looks like.
Yeah.
Just having some trouble with your machine. So I'm just going to quickly share my screen and show it to everyone. So from there, after which you can take it from there, right?
All right.
Show from there. Who is the organizer for this meeting, Mr. Raina? Is it Mohit or is it you?
Mohit.
Okay. So my screen is being shared right now. So you should expect this kind of email in your inbox. The sender would be this: no reply @myloft.xyz. It'll say your name. So by default, it's my name over here, and it'll say you have been registered on MyLoft. You need to set your password. Once I click on this, it'll open up into a different page. Mr. Raina, is that page already open at your on your computer?
Yes.
So can you take it from there?
Yeah, sure.
So the moment I click on that link, it will open up into a different page, and which Mr. Raina will just show it to you like this. It will first and the foremost, it will ask for your institute. For the initial time, for some time, do not search for your institute, search for SCC Online. We will let through your faculty members when you have to use your own institute name. But for now, for the initial bit, please type in the institute as SCC Online. Your email address would be an email address that on which you have received this email, and this password option will be blank over here. You will need to set the password for the first time. Once you do that, it'll open up this particular page, and in the center, it will give you a message, an error message, which will say you will have to add an extension. So you can, I'm sure everyone knows how to add Google Chrome extensions and Edge extensions. You can just have to click on add extension, it will do it. And once you're done with this, you simply come to eResources, database. And in the database, you will have SCC Online. And if you click on SCC Online, the SCC Online web page will open up. Now, the reason why we're going through all this, another login, going to eResources, databases and all, because the moment you step out of your university and you type in SCC Online in Google, it will not give you IP access. It will ask for ID and password, which you do not have. So in order to get the same access like you've been getting in the university, you have to follow the remote access process. And once you do that, and if you now click on login, in the login option, it will give you this IP login option, right? A user login and IP login. You will always go for IP login. You put in your ID over here, and you click on login. In case if it says login ID not registered, do not panic. You can simply get to the next option, that is register here. So you have to do a one-time registration. Now this is important because your history is being maintained. So if you, let's suppose if you come after a month to SCC Online and you want to see what all you searched the last time you were logged in SCC Online, or you want to make your own folders, you can certainly do that because your login is attached to a login ID. Okay. So registration is very simple. You put in your login ID, you put in your full name, and you say register and login, you'll be registered. So that's how it really works. Now, quickly showing you about the data coverage. Now, what exactly the data coverage covers. We'll show it to you how we got here. Mr. Anna, can you just go on the top and show us where, how we, so there we have it, data coverage, web edition, and that's when you get this particular page. So we have all your Supreme Court judgment from the inception till date. We have your Federal Court, Privy Council judgment, all your high courts, several tribunals, your few district court judgments, provincial courts judgments, like the historical courts which were there before independence. Then your central acts, state acts, notifications, circulars, instructions, bills in parliaments. Then your treaties and conventions, your state notification as well. And then your Law Commission report, Constituent Assembly debates, all those sort of things are already available. Apart from this, legal articles from various institutes in India, universities, Indian universities, and other individual independent journals. Articles are also published over here. So all in all, when you're doing a research, it's a one-stop shop to get all your access to the Supreme Court judgments, various judgments, and secondary and primary legislation and acts. So we can have a look at it as per your, whenever you have time, you can go through it. Considering that we have a very limited time for today's session, I'll just simply jump into login. Mr. Raina will just log in with his ID and password. Log in now. And here we are logged. Here we logged in. Now there are different tiles that we have. I would stop over here and hand over the baton to Mr. Raina. But just to give you a heads up, all these options that you see on the screen. So today we'll be covering majorly the blue tiles and the red tiles. The gray tiles are external links, external software that we have. So we will not have the time to cover that. We'll just cover the main research part. That is the two tiles, the blue and the red. And even irrespective of what tile you choose to research in, the database will remain the same. Yeah. Mr. Raina, can I request you to please take it over and help us understand the entire software now?
Sure, Chetan. Thank you.
Thank you.
So I'll take it from here. As Mr. Chetan told, there are three sections over here in the main menu when we log in. The first one is the Research Plus, where you'll be doing most of your legal research, whether it's in the form of a word search or a party name or citation or some section of an act on the basis of which you can, retrieve the databases or the judgments. The second section is My Library. In the My Library section, as the name suggests, it's somewhat similar to what you have in your university and college. You have a physical library. Instead, here we have an e-library. So there are topics, and under those topics, there will be further documents, and you can click and view. Basically, it's a click and view kind of a section that we have over here in the My Library section. And the third one, links, as the name suggests, will give us access to external links, like foreign laws that we have tied up with Singapore LawNet or Hein Online USA. There is a micro-blogging site of SCC Online by the name SCC Online Blog, where you'll be able to access the latest legal information, news related to law. In this microblogging site. Then we have EBC, Eastern Book Company, our parent company. They have a couple of websites. The links are available for short-term courses you have in the EBC Learning section, and the EBC Web Store has all the print publishing material that we have is available through this link. And the SCC Online Store, of course, has this product which is in front of you right now, as well as its other variants. Those are available under this tile. Now, To start with, let me just choose one option in the My Library section, which is browse curated topics. This one we developed in the recent past 1 year or 1.5 years, where this pandemic was at its peak, and it's of course right now also. So here you have these topics, some 10-12 topics, which we have curated for you, namely public law, corporate, commercial, constitutional, environmental, environment, taxation, arbitration, etc. So if I select any one of the topic, let's say, for example, corporate and commercial law, under this corporate and commercial law, you will have certain categories, like you will have on banking, on aviation, on cryptocurrency, on insolvency and bankruptcy, right? So all these topics are mentioned here in the in the left column on the left panel here. And under these topics, what all areas of law are there are placed under these topics. Now, if I suppose pick any one topic like competition law, now I'll get information of competition law, whether it's the statutory law, it's rules, regulation, notification circulars, articles or case law, or maybe even a bill or any other area of the law is put under this competition law. Now, how it is unique is the fact that this all information has been picked up from various legal legal acts. Let's say, for example, in statutory law, apart from the Principal Act of Competition Act, you also find Companies Act Section 234, 10, Schedule 5. Now this is linked to Competition Act or competition law. Similarly, Electricity Act 23, 60, 61 is also linked somewhat. And then we have one on insurance, a couple of them on bankruptcy, and Motor Vehicles Act, and natural gas, petroleum and natural gas, RERA, TRAI. All these are again, somewhat linked to the competition law. Similar goes the case with rules and regulations, where we have the Competition Commission of India as well as the Appellate Tribunal rules regulations available here. And the various notifications from the various departments of the government are also listed. And coming to the case law, in the case law, you'll find only a handful, maybe 15 or max 20 judgment citations are available over here. And if I click on the, let's say, the topmost, so Competition Commission of India versus Bharti Airtel. So this will give me the judgment on its principle is competition law. And then further, you can see the text on the right hand column of it. And the two judges bench, which is mentioned over here in this, Dr. A.K. Sikri's name is in bold, which denotes that this particular judge has authored this judgment. And that is the uniqueness of this bold and highlight wherever you see in any judgment. Now, so this is the curated topics for you under the My Library section. Similarly, there are a few more tiles which are very useful in this section, but let me quickly move on to the research section. Now in research, as I told you, most of your legal research you will be doing through this section, and you obviously have a query in place. So you want to search maybe judgments on that particular topic. Now, if you are a relatively new or a first year student, most of the time we are very comfortable with the Google search or maybe some free search engines, wherein we have to key in each and every detail of a query. Let's say, for example, I'm looking for judgments on the latest judgment from Supreme Court of India on corruption, right? So what if I do a Google kind of search, I'll key in latest judgment from Supreme Court of India on, say, corruption. This is how I'll key in and I'll start the search. And let's see the results now. Results, it will show me all the documents, whether it's a full text judgment, whether it's a High Court judgment or a Supreme Court, or our USP, that is the digest notes, that is the summary point, law points. That section is there, then bills in parliament and all those databases where this particular query is meeting the criteria, like on corruption. But then you can see over here in the result list, it's showing me articles on top, whereas the second one is on of the Supreme Court. So it's a mix of all, right? And the total number of results that I have got is 1102. Now, if I want only Supreme Court, what I can do is I can just expand this first column, the all results column here, and it will give me bifurcation, Supreme Court so many, and then High Courts also further. I can expand and select the one I want to see in the result list. So for example, in this case, I want only Supreme Court. So I'll click on this only, appearing wherever I'm putting my cursor in the database, and the rest of the boxes get unchecked and only Supreme Court is selected. So I get results only of Supreme Court here. From here, I'll do one sorting using the sort by option and selecting latest first. I can do 4 or 5 types of sortings. So let me select chronological latest first, and the latest one will be put on top. So 19th of Jan 21, I'm getting one judgment on this corruption. Say. Now, you just remember these two things. One is the latest judgment date, that's 19th of Jan, and the total number of results is 1102. Now, let me just redo this search query. I'll click on this 3.3 lines dashboard, which will take me back to the main menu. From here, I'll click on word search. And instead of, entering the entire query, I'll just remove the other description and focus only on the main keyword. That's corruption over here, and start the search. That's the difference with the generic search engine and a specialized legal search engine. You should focus mainly on keywords or the law points. Now here you will notice an astonishing difference in the results. 1100 in the earlier one and 56,996. Exponential. And then again, so I was missing out on so many things, though I keyed in maximum, everything in detail, I got lesser results. Whereas I keyed in lesser because it was more focused, it gave me more results. That's how the software will work. Now I'll just segregate the Supreme Court judgments only, and then I'll go to the sort by, put the latest first. The other startling difference you'll see now is that it is a judgment of 13th of April 2021. Earlier we had of 1 Jan. So April, then 26th March, 24th March, 19th March, 12th March, 3rd March, 1st March, then a lot of Feb ones, all were getting missed. So that is one thing we should need. We need to keep in mind that we need to be very simple, use very simple approach while framing a query or keying in a query. We should always focus on the main key law. Now, similarly, if I have a phrase to search for, like 2 words which should be, appearing together. So in that case, what I'll do, let's take an example of right to health. And here, what I'll do is I'll put it in double inverted commas. So what the software will do, it will pick this as a single word. Otherwise, without these inverted commas, it will be picking these words in a scattered manner, as and where they are appearing in different paras. But here it is to be ought to be in a as a single word. It is going to pick it. And the best part is, from here, if I want to further narrow down a query, again I can break the query in steps. So how I'm able to do that is in the search results, just above all results, there is a search within search results column over here, and I'll just enter the next query which I want to search within these results only. So if I am looking for, say, below the poverty line, so I'll put below poverty line like this, and then put in double inverted commas, because being a phrase, I want to search it, and then it will start the search. So it will give me further, it will further narrow down the results for me. I think net has slightly gone slow. Just refresh once. So I can do this search within search query up to 6 levels. So let me repeat it again. Maybe I'll just say below poverty line. and put it in double inverted commas and start the search, and it will now further narrow it down. Then while I get these results, I again want another filtering to be done, right? So maybe looking for some tribal area or tribal community. So I can click on that. Similarly, at any point of time, if you want to do some changes in a query in these step by step that I'm performing right now, say suppose step number 2, I want to modify. So I need not re-enter the entire query in 3 steps. I can just use this cross button, cross mark over here in the second step. It will remove that and software will adjust the results accordingly. And then within this, now I can just put the other one, maybe like universal, and it will now give me the results accordingly. So you can do this kind of modifications in between a specific step if you want to. Now that was searching within a search or further narrowing it down. Now let's move on to another kind of search that we have here is that when I have a very descriptive query, remember in the first place we had one descriptive query and it gave me lesser results. So focus should be on the key main law points of the keywords. So again, similarly, there was a judgment on some discipline versus indiscipline, and the judge quoted one foreign judge's quote that I cannot define an elephant, but I do recognize one. I do recognize one when I see one. When I see one. If you remember earlier also, we had done away with the most of it and focused on the keywords, main keywords over here. Now here, the keywords could be more than one, of course, because I can't simply say elephant and it will give me some vague results. So I'll just put part of it. I'll just remove the common English words like an, of, the, and all. So I'll remove. Define is really define. It is important. So I'll just keep it. And elephant is another one which is of relevance. Of course, I'll keep this also. And then this one, I do recognize one when I see one. So I'll remove all these one and the last one also. And I'll just keep these 3 main keywords in here. Now they should form a part of the sentence. Why I have done it? Because these the first and foremost is the way judge has written in the judgment. Same way, I need not interpret the sentence in the same way. So there could be a slight deviation, but the meaning will remain the same. So this way, software wise, being intelligent enough to pick word by word might skip what, because it might not find this word by word the same sentence matching which was there originally in the judgment 1. And second, it will search for all these common words like and, of, the, which is 100% going to appear in each and every document. So it will give me plethora of results, huge results. And from among those, when I have to search for my relevant, judgment, which is forming a, sentence kind of, it will be like searching for a needle in a haystack. So what I can do is I can use one operator over here, which is near. In between the words, I've keyed in capitals this near. Now, what does that mean and what it will do, this function near operator? It will search for these 2 correlating words nearby. How much nearby? If you scroll down a little bit, it says near means 10 words range. So it is kind of a proximity search. So this will definitely, all these 3 words will be appearing nearby, thereby they will form kind of a sentence, part of a sentence. So that makes sense. So let me just now start the search and it will be much easier for me to find out the judgment I'm looking for, rather than the entire sentence if I had keyed in. So if you can see over here, the first one, the Bombay High Court judgment over here, in this 1945 judgment, if I click on this, go to next highlight in the 3rd column, where the text of the judgment is appearing, it will jump to that line. So it's mentioned over here as Curtin LJ said on another occasion, I cannot define an infant, but I do recognize when I see one. So it's forming a part of the sentence and it's very to the point and relevant. That's what I was looking for. Now, apart from this near operator, which is important, we also have a couple of operators by name not and or. Now, how they function and what is their functionality? And in case of or, whenever you have a similar kind of words to search for, in that case, this or operator works. Like in case of multiple choices, let me just show you one example, illustrate this with an example. Like I'm looking for judgments on cancellation of appointment. So let me type cancellation near appointment. That's my first step. Once I do that, I'll get the results. And in the search within search now, what I am looking for is the type of employees. They are, I mean, one and the same thing though, but with a different name. Like one is temporary, the other one is casual, third one is ad hoc, fourth may be seasonal, right? Now, in between, though they are one and the same thing, but with different names, I'll key in or in capitals. And ad hoc being a phrase, I'll put it in double inverted comma so that it's picked as a single word. Now, something like this, I'll key in the search within search results and start the search. So software will do what? It will take care of all the variants, like whether it is temporary, whether it's casual or ad hoc. What if I had not put or operator in between? It would have given me only and only those judgments where all the three designations were mentioned in the judgment. Now, this way I am getting either of those with the OR operator. So that is the functionality of OR operator. Another operator that we have is in the form of NOT. Now, what happens at times then when you give a query, you get huge results. Then later on, you realize, yeah, in this, I didn't want this particular segment or these results. Right. So to keep those results out of the main results that we'll be now searching for, I'll put the not operator. So I'm looking for judgments on compensation, but I don't want the ones on medical negligence. So if it is that is the case, I'll key in something like this. So it will not include judgments of medical negligence in the compensation results query that I have given. Similarly, if I want more than one subject to be kept out of the result list, I can also key in that, like don't want on motor accident, I don't want on land acquisition. So I keyed in something like this. And then I start the search and I'll be able to get judgments on compensation, of course, but it will not have these three subheads. So to just cross check once, I can simply click key in the search within search query medical, and I get to see 0 results. So it has done the job. It has kept them out of the result list. Now let me go back to the dashboard. Apart from this word search, we also have few more options available in this research plus section. Let me show you the one words and phrases in the last option that we have over here. Here it is just like a legal thesaurus, but not any kind of a Oxford dictionary, but it will be a dictionary of legal words and phrases. But of course, which words and legal words are defined in the case law or in the statutory law. So this way. So for example, if I'm looking for, say, a bail, on bail, I want to know the definition. Here you can see once I key in bail, it's showing me the statutory law where it has been defined. And of course, it is also giving me another definition from A.K. Gopalan versus State of Madras. Then another one from Vaman Narayan Ghia versus State of Rajasthan. Then a third one is also appearing, and it's Deepak Subhash Chandra Mehta versus CBI 2012. Right. And last but not least, this Wharton, W-H-A-R-T in square box, you can see a couple of definitions from Wharton UK dictionary also available. So this all you will find in the under the words and phrases section. Then you also have the find by topic option, which is somewhat similar to word search, but here you might not, you may not key in anything. I mean, it's a ready-made index available. You can select one particular topic, subtopic, and click on the go button on the bottom. It will give me the digest notes or the summary part of the on that particular topic. But the best part is that the editorial which has developed it, in that if you have any legal topic with you and you want to key in over here, like I'm typing in, say, for example, gratuity, so it will pull out all the various acts within which it is being, mentioned over here under the subheads. So you can, either way, you can select from the list or type in over here and you'll get to get to that topic over here. Then you can click on go button. It will give you the digest notes. But if you want to search in the entire databases, then you can click on search everywhere. So it will give me not only the head notes, but also the full text of the judgments. Now, coming back to the dashboard, we also have the find by party name section. Now, this find by party name is divided into two sections. First is search by party name, and the second one is search by famous case names. Now, search by famous case names is basically the one where you have a name which is made famous by the media. I mean, the actual party name is eclipsed. You don't know that basically. And the cases, for example, could be Sabrimala or Triple Talaq or Ayodhya, Mumbai Blast case, first judge's case, second judge's case. So many famous cases are there. And the moment I key in any one of them, it's giving me a suggestion. Women's entry in Sabrimala, that's what you're looking for. Yeah, I select this and click on find case, and software will decode and give me the actual party name now, which is Indian Young Lawyers Association versus State of Kerala. So this is one way of finding by famous case name. But what if you have the already the party name with you? Then you should use the traditional ways. Search by party name, go to this select court. You have to first select either the High Court or the Supreme Court. If you're not sure about the jurisdiction, you can select all jurisdiction in that case, and then type the party name. Now let me just show you one over here of Supreme Court. Now in this, I'll now just key in the party name. So I'm looking for some one party name, that is ADM Jabalpur versus Shivkant Shukla. So either way, I can, without worrying about the sequence, so I can put the respondent name first, right? And then ADM Jabalpur next. And in between, I'll not put V dot or versus, which is common. And if I key in that, if I type that, it will not give me the results. Now, after that, I'll just put one space in between the two parties and start the search. And this way, I'll get the unique citation over here on the bottom result window. Double click on that, and it will now open the judgment for me. Now, this particular judgment, you will see they will have 67 law points are there in this judgment. And the second one column where I can see the result is it's showing me this the Supreme Court judgment, date of the judgment is so and so. Followed by that, it's also showing me the digest notes. So J, the labels are here. J, which stands for full text judgment. 5 is the bench strength, the quorum strength. D is digest note, and 5 is the quorum strength. And here you have the various law points. Constitution of India, Articles 133, 134, 36, 30. These are all exercises of Supreme Court jurisdiction is being discussed over here. Then freedom under law is not absolute freedom is second point, and so on and so forth. Now, in between, let me just explain it, is that in Supreme Court, the judgments are never overruled, entire judgment. Only a specific law point in that judgment is overruled, or maybe a number of law points. So we need to know those. So what is the way out? You go to the search within search section and type key in overruled. Whether you are searching by party name, whether you are searching by citation, or any other mode and method. If you want to know which law point has been overruled, you should follow this same steps over here. In the result list, in the all results, you just key in overruled, and it will pull out all the overruled law points over here. And what is the indicator? This red circle with an exclamation denotes that this particular law point has been overruled. And if I now view this law point, it will also show me in which judgment it has been overruled, right? So just give me a sec again. Let me get back the result list. Now, this is showing this particular judgment again. I think I'll need to redo that step of overruled. It's somewhat slow. Yeah, so I'll just key in overruled over here again and redo this. Let me get the results first. Once I have the results, then I'll open this digest note number 2 over here, and which is appearing now in third column. And I scroll down to the footnote or the bottom, and here it says overruled in case Puttaswamy versus Union of India. And similarly, if you see there are third one is not showing any right exclamation, that means that this particular law point is not overruled, but overruled is mentioned in the description somewhere. But yes, the point number 4 is of course overruled over here. Right. So if I go to this point number 4, law point number 4 here, it is talking about Article 21, and you can see the opinion of Justice Baig, Justice Chandrachud, Justice Bhagwati, Justice Khanna, where it is shown in bracket dissenting also. And then finally, if I scroll down, it says overruling case Puttaswamy. So you get all these inputs, like whether it is dissenting, this particular judge, or it's concurring and all that stuff. And if this particular judgment, I want to know what is the precedence, I mean, where it has been followed or relied on or distinguished. If I want to know that, the history, its history, in backward referencing or forward referencing also, that what we call. So I'll click on this case reference, the second icon in the third column, and the software will pull out all those judgments where this particular the citation of 1976 ADM Jabalpur is appearing. So you can see here in 1950 judgment of A.K. Gopalan versus State of Madras, this Shivakant Shukla citation is mentioned over here. Similarly, if you see various other law points are available, and in this you will get to see where it has, in this case, in this particular case of 2007, Girnar Raiders versus State of Maharashtra, this ADM Jabalpur versus Shivakant Shukla has been relied on. So you get all these valuable inputs, whether it's relied on, whether it's distinguished, it's merely cited or followed. So all these treatments you will get to know. Now that was fine by party name. Move to the next section, next icon, that is find by citation. We have kept around 200 plus citations are available. And we have tied up regionally with various journals, like for Maharashtra, we have Maharashtra Law Journal, we have ILR Bombay entire series. Similarly, we have for South as well as Central, like MP Journal, MP Law Journal, and other states, regional publishers we have a tie-up with. But what if you have a citation of, say, for example, AIR, right? So in this case, you can just key in AIR and you select AIR. I'll just key in the year, and automatically the page numbering index will appear. I'll select the first page and click on get citation. Very simple steps, and I get to see the judgment along with the digest notes. Now let me move to the digest note and scroll down to the bottom where the title of this judgment is mentioned. Here it is mentioned as 2010 to SCC 9 as the citation, whereas we searched with AIR. But you can see we have incorporated the equivalent citations of other journals like SCC Criminal, Criminal Law Journal, ECRN, All India Cases, SLS 2010 AIR. This is how we reached there. So equivalent citations are also there. So you will get judgments on the basis of different publishers also. Another example I want to show you here is in some landmark judgments, we have also, incorporated some extra information is available in the form of what you call summary of arguments, which is in specified judgments, landmark judgments, select few judgments, you can say. And this judgment of Supreme Court Advocates and Record Association versus Union of India with SP Gupta versus Union of India on basically on judiciary, I mean, appointments and transfers, etc. You can see that these portions which are in bold are part of the head note. That is our editorial work. And you can see that it's mentioned here, Constitution of India, Articles 124 to 217 to 221. If I want to know, read this particular article, I can click on this, it's hyperlinked, and I'll be able to read the Article 22 to 22 of the Constitution of India. I close it. I'm back to the judgment. And you can see the summarization is continuing still. And each and every para, which is briefed here, has on the bottom para numbers mentioned over here, like 467, 468. So if I want to read the entire para after reading the gist, I can click on this. It will jump to that portion or para in the judgment text. Right now we are still in the digest notes part. So this continues for a few hundred pages. And after that, you will also see the blue colored highlighted portion, right? Which is basically the summary of arguments. What happened between the two parties in the court, right? After that, it will now actually start the judgment. So you can see the kind of editorial input or the work done before the actual commencement of the judgment starts, which starts from page number 5, not 4, you can see over here. So up to 503, this was the input from our editorial. Now coming back to the dashboard, I'll just move on to the next one, that is find case law by section. Here you will be finding the cases on the basis of section. So obviously you'll have to enter the act first, whether it is Indian Penal Code or Indian Contract Act. You should not put Indian in the first place because Indian being very common would have given us a huge result. So what we did, we skipped this Indian. So you can simply type the Principal Act over it. So I've typed Contract Act and clicked on the find in title. It will give me the entire list of sections, right? I'll select say section 17 fraud. I click on go, and on the screen, I'll now see the judgments, digest notes, etc. of section 17 of Contract Act. So this is how we can retrieve on the basis of find case law by section. But at times you can have more than one section to search for in a single judgment. So what will we do in that case? Let me give you an example. Like I'm looking for judgments on Penal Code section 420 and the Negotiable Instrument Act section 138. So I need not enter everything over here. I'll just use the section number and the first name of the Principal Act. In between, I'll key in near operator. If you remember in the beginning, this near operator will search for these two correlating words nearby, right? And then I'll start search. So every judgment now which will be appearing on the screen will have both the sections discussed in the same judgment. Right. So this is how you can search for multiple sections or even subsections, rules, orders, etc. Now coming back to the dashboard, just before we do that, I'll also show you some more features which are incorporated here in the full text. Let me see how many we have in the Supreme Court. We have 8 judgments. And let's open one. Let's see which is the latest one. It's of 2005. Fine, 2005. So here you can see these are all self-explanatory icons. I'll just go quickly rush through. That is saving a document, mailing this particular judgment, and print. Now in print, you will be seeing 3 type of prints. One is true print, the other one is non-true print, and the third one is non-true print with highlight. Now what does this true print mean? True print means the exact photo picture of the print journal that you have in your library. So it will have the same paragraphing, same pagination that we have in the original print. That's why it's called true print. Whereas non-true print is a computer generated printout. So it will not maintain the same pagination and paragraphing that we have in the original print. That is the difference. And the third one, which is non-true print with highlight, will also highlight those portions which we have searched for. Say, like, for example, in this case, section 17 of the Contract Act. Now here you can see it's showing me the exact formatting which we have in the true print, in the print journal as well. So it's a ditto copy of that. Now coming to sharing of this document, you can click on the document sharing link. It will generate this link and that you can share it with your associate or colleague. Now within this judgment, there's a methodology by which you can copy. It's not simple copy like manual. I'll just highlight and say Control C, Control V. It can't be done because these are all copyrighted because they have the head notes embedded in them. So what is the methodology for copying? I can copy the judgment portions and those two in the form of para by para, each para. So for example, in this case, para number 3, you can see one notepad icon appearing before para 3. So in the beginning, so I'll double click on this, this notepad, and it'll open in a new window. From here, I can mail it across. I can copy a few lines and say Control C, Control E, or I can copy in entirety and paste it in my draft. Now, can I copy more than one para? Yes, of course. And the steps are, you have to simply single click once. A green tick will appear on this number in this notepad icon, and similar goes the case with the next para and next para. So the limitation here is up to 10 paras I can copy at one go. Right. So I'm just trying. It's not working again. I'll have to refresh maybe. So it will copy multiple paras. Let me quickly open the judgment once again, and let's move to the paras and see. Yeah, it's okay. One green tick. I hope you are able to view. Then again in para number 4 and then 5, I can keep on adding up to 10. Once I have selected multiple paras, then I'll need to click on the smart copy option icon over here. Once I do that, it will show me the source, extract taken from so and so, citation, equivalent citation, page number for each and every para. And from here, the rest remains the same. I can mail it, I can copy it across. So that is copy paste feature for you. Apart from that, as I told you in the beginning, this first icon that we had was saving. So it will individually save all the judgments in a particular downloads folder or something like that, right? But if I want similar type of judgments, or maybe even articles, or maybe tribunal decisions in a single folder, so it's easy for me to locate it next time around. So creating a folder in SCC is possible. Yes, you'll need to use this icon, first icon, which is add to my SCC online folders. So I'll click on this. Now it says add to folder. It's already previous folder pre-selected, but by default it will show you my folder. So I'll click on, obviously in both cases, I'll click on change folder. From here, what I'll do is I'll now create a new folder. So it should appear. The list of all the folders will be displayed here. I think it's again slow down a little bit. I'll click on change folder again and see whether it starts. I think it's showing some error. I'll need to.
I think Mr. Raina, you can forget about changing the folder. Just add in the previous already created folder. That'll be easier.
Okay. I'll do that.
But I think everyone knows how to change and make folders.
Okay.
It's a basic.
Okay. Once you have, once correct. Okay. So once you have created the folder, let me choose the existing one, and then you click on OK button. So what happens here is that it will add into that folder. Same way, if I go to say a High Court judgment, to this Allahabad High Court, and from here again I'll just simply add it to the folder. Now let me just retrieve the previous search or something like that. Let me just redo the search and open the document. The main motto here is how you can add, let's say, for example, if it's a digest note also, that way also I can just add it into the same one. It says document added successfully, then I move on to the judgment or maybe an article. And again, I'll say add to this folder, and then first add to my SCC online folder and click on OK. So it goes into that. Now the next step is to retrieve it. So adjacent to the dashboard, there is an icon by the name My SCC Online. In there, you will find one View Folders option under My Folders. So the moment I click on View Folders, it will show me the entire list of folders that I have created. And the latest one I have created is being now displayed here. Among these, if I want to, select some of them or all of them for a case, preparing a case compendium or a case compilation, whether for your moot court or maybe later in your professional career, you want to, present it in a court. So believe me, it will take you an hour or two manually doing it. And here it is a matter of minute or minutes, maybe a couple of. So what is the what was the process? What are the steps? You'll simply click on result or this checkbox of result list. It will select all of the documents. Then adjacent to that, there is a action icon over here, and in the action icon, you will find another option here. The last one, create case compilation. The moment I click on create case compilation, it will show me where it is, with which name you want to save it. Now let me save it with MIT. And after that, it will also prompt me to, change the sequence, move one up or down, and I can do that. Once I have done that and click on this right bottom create button, and the entire, compilation is being done in the background. And within a few seconds, you will now see the case compilation in front of your screen, which will comprise of two sections. One is the table of contents, and the second one is the documents that I have attached in this. And the table of contents what will it have? It will have the titles. Each and every title will be there, and on there will be another column adjacent to that is of the page numbers. So the software will automatically allocate the page numberings to the documents as per sequence and in continuation. So you will get to see the title as well as the page number adjacent to it, and followed by that the second document, third document, and likewise. So this is how the case compilation is, created. Once that is done, then it will the last step that you need to do is you need to download these table of contents and documents. And when you click on that arrow, which will appear in a while maybe, and then from there it will be of course downloaded into your downloads folder, and from there you can take a print and present it in the court uh, as a compilation. So it's taking a while. Let me just pull out any of the other ones, previous ones maybe. Just give me a sec. I'll just try to retrieve existing one. There's a huge list of these what you call folders that I have created. Among those, we can just retrieve one point of time just to show you how it looks like.
See, usually it takes few seconds, but
Yeah.
I think it is very dependent on the internet speed. I think for some reason, Mr. Raina is not feeling, lucky today as far as internet is concerned. I think I just let it be. I think just open up. Just don't let it just load up. It'll load up. I think the thing is because we have taken so many documents, it is it's gonna take some time. What did it say?
It says just kill
this page. Just kill the page because that's what it is. The problem is creating.
What is creating a problem. So I'll just re-log in. Let me see if it does it on its own, or I'll just.
Yeah, we can then you can just simply jump to the case compilation that you have created earlier.
Correct.
And we can show that those ones. That'll be a better one.
That will be a better option.
But I think what we're talking about is everyone understand how the compendium is made. So when we take a printout, we put one after another. We put the page, we do the pagination and all, put the numbers and everything. All those things will be done through this. And moreover, the index of the entire thing, how you will be like what all judgments, what all articles, what all documents basically that you've used, all those will be mentioned over here with their page numbers and the entire citation and party name. So that's a huge work in itself, which is taken care by within a few seconds, So yes, I think Mr. Raina.
No, I'm just maybe
worries.
it's logging, but it's slowed down at the end quite a bit. So I'm just trying out another browser in the meanwhile. That's what I was trying. Just
which is okay. I think we got a point. I think in the meantime we can open the question answer while you are getting this. While trying to get this.
Yeah.
Once it comes in, we'll show it to you. I think just close the entire browser. Yeah, I think you're done.
I'm opening this Edge, Microsoft.
Yeah.
Edge once.
Let's do that.
Yeah. And in the meanwhile, Bakshi ma'am, I think if the students have any queries, they can just unmute and ask the query or the question if they have.
So do we have any questions, anyone? We can use the chat option. Okay, could you please repeat the copy and paste to point again, sir?
Okay.
Okay, and so yes, we can just do a copy paste. Okay,
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
a moment.
I'll just do that. Let me see. No, can't do on this. Okay, it's very huge judgment, of course. I can. In the previous demo, they had asked for this case one in the Bharati judgment. Okay, so let's take this. What else? I mean, this judgment, such a huge landmark judgment. You can see so many paras over here. 145. Let's take this example now. Here, if I want to copy this para number 145, you can see this notepad icon in the before this 145, and the moment I double click on this, it will pull out the extract in a new window. From here, I can mail it across, or I can copy it and paste it in my text editor like Microsoft Word or any other editor that I have. Now that is one para. What if I have more than one para? Then in that case, I'll single click on the para. Each para there will be a tick appearing on that. And I can go up to 10 paras at one go. Once I do that, I click on this third icon in the third column, that is smart copy. The moment I do that, it will show me the extract with the citation and the page number for each para. And from here, I can just do the same way. I can mail it, I can copy it. So that is copy paste for you, right? Now, let me just quickly move on to this thing, the SCC online section,
The compilation.
the folder section. Yeah, the compilation. So I go to this my SCC online icon once I create that and click on view folders the way we did in the previous, section we did. And of course, I have this now ready for me. I'll just click on this checkbox of result list. All of the documents get selected. Then I go to the action button icon and move to this, click on this create case compilation, and I put the name. Now remember, all of these folders are getting created on the server, on the SCC online server, but it will have access, will be only to the one who has created it with his credentials, with his ID. So nobody else will be able to access it. Now I click on the create button on the bottom, and now while we are talking on the background, the case compilation is being getting generated. As I told you, it is divided into two sections. First thing is the table of contents, as you can see in the third column. The title is there, and of course the page numbering. So you can see from page number 1 to 44, the first document, and from 45 to page number 54, the second, and from 55 to 55, only one page judgment is in the third document. So that has been done already for you. Now let me go to the second column and click on this pages 1 to -555, and all these documents, three documents, will be now displayed in the same sequence with the continuity in paginations as by allocated by the computer. You see here on top corner, the page number 1 to, let's move to 44. This is 43, 44. Now from 45, the new document starts. You can see it. So you don't have to do anything now. From here, you'll have to simply, perform a download by clicking on these download arrows for each table of contents and the documents. They'll get downloaded in your downloads folder. From there, you take a print, all in sequence, just file it and present it. It's as simple as that. So that is case compilation for you. Any
Let's
other?
see, we have some copy paste and extract. I think that is we have covered. Satyajit, do you have any other question? Like you mentioned the copy paste one more time. Has it been answered? Do you need more information on that? Could you please unmute yourself and confirm?
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Perfect. There will be certain judgment which will not have this icon. So over in those scenarios, you can simply do a highlight. Control C, Control V works
as
I'll
you all know it
just,
how it is.
yeah.
So basically,
In the
wherever
meanwhile,
you will have that icon of that clipboard icon, that's when you'll have to use smart copy. Otherwise, you'll use the normal highlight part, Control-C, Control-V. Any other question that we can answer, help you understand anything?
see, as Mr. Chetan was saying, here in this case, it has a citation of SCC online, right? So here the what you call the blueprint is not available. So if I simply manually highlight this and then say Control-C, Control-E, I can do that. So these are these judgments. It's possible in these judgments, but not in the ones where you have a blueprint available, right? So there you will be able to copy pairwise only the way I showed you.
So I think we don't have any questions.
Okay.
We can request ma'am to please confirm if there are no further questions. And in the meantime,
Sure.
Mr. Anna, could you also share the email address and
Sure,
the total
I'll
number,
do
so in case
I-
anyone has any concern, you
yeah,
can
yeah.
also.
I'll do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So for all the participants, what I'll do is now I'll just share you our email ID, which is of the learning department. So even if a person is not available, it will be answered immediately. So the email ID is learning@scconline.com. So this is one way of reaching us. The second one is the toll-free number. The toll-free number is also available. I'll just.
So the learning email
Yes,
address has L capital.
no. It's not case sensitive, ma'am. It's not case
Oh,
sensitive.
okay.
Uh, uh. So you can reach us through this email, and of course the toll-free number which is there available from 9:30 in the morning till 7 in the evening, Monday through Saturday.
Yes.
I've just shared that also for you.
So I think it's. Do we have anything in the chats? No, we don't.
No, I don't think so.
Bring us to the end of the session, Ms. Rana.
I think so. I think, ma'am, Bakshi ma'am, with
Yes,
your permission.
yes,
So
sir. But that
shall
was in fact a very, very informative session. And thank you, Chetan sir, Rajesh sir, for taking it up so well. And again, answering a few of the queries put by students. And I'm sure our students have benefited from this session. And thank you once again for sharing those numbers, the helpline numbers, the email address, as well as the number. So I'll just request you to kindly share the recording of this session as
sure,
well
ma'am.
as the earlier session. I think I haven't received the link yet. And possibly in the same email, if you could share the recording of both the training sessions that we have had, along with the number, that is the toll-free number, as well as the email address that you just wrote in the chat box, so that it becomes one comprehensive email for all the training information. That is the data. And again, on behalf of Faculty of Law, I wish to definitely place my gratitude to SCC Online team, the training team, for conducting both the sessions so well. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am, for your kind words. And
Ma'am,
I think
we'll just send you an email. I think what we'll do is we'll send you an email which will take care of not only. I think we'll make an email in such a way that you can send that same email as a circular.
Oh, of course, that will be great. That will be in fact very helpful so that we can forward it to all our students.
Exactly. We'll draft it in such a way So we will. I think we have to give us till Monday time. We'll send it on Monday.
Definitely.
But lovely talking to you, ma'am, and thank you for bringing everyone together and helping us to reach everyone. And I think even if I think we have done two sessions, both sessions are basic. So next time, whenever the time is right, whenever you think or whenever the student wants it, I would highly suggest we sit down for an advanced session. There are a lot of things which are still
along with that, of course, we'll wait for the remote access to happen so that the students can start exploring the remote access. And obviously, once they start exploring, they'll have more doubts. So I think that will be the right time to schedule the advanced training. And that could be somewhere in the month of May or the first week of June.
Whenever you think is right, what we'll also do is, once the remote access gets activated, I will personally, what I'll do is on Monday, I will send an email to you for the remote access as well, how to set up the remote access so that when it gets activated, you can use that email and send it to the students.
Definitely. That'll be a very, very nice thing and very helpful for all of us, sir, even the faculty members.
Don't worry, ma'am. We'll work it together. So, and it's just the start of the journey.
Yes,
thank you so much.
Absolutely. And you all please take care, stay safe, and we look forward to having some more interactive sessions in the future.
Sure.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Mr. Raina.
Yeah.
Thank you for a lovely session, Mr. Raina.
Thank you. Thank you, Chetan. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you.